Well, it's day 2 of installing the vinyl flooring. Here's all their scraps. Little Billy has been working diligently with his pops, and he's got the scraps all kind of lined up over here in case they can use them for fills and that kind of stuff. And dabbity nabbit, I was trying to get here first thing this morning before they moved the refrigerator. There's the refrigerator, remember? It was sitting over here, and he didn't slide it over the floor. He took a bag, and it's like a hovering bag. He's got it in there, and he pumps that up with air, and it just kind of lifts it up, and then they just slide it over there with the bag. I was hoping to show that to you, but that's how they do it nowadays. So when you have somebody installing your floor and they want to drag your old refrigerator over the brand new flooring, make sure they use a bag like that. And he still has a little ways to go. He's doing a really good job here. And I'm still going to have to put the quarter round trim down along the sides, and I'm waiting until he's done to see what size I'm going to get. I ran to Home Depot this morning, and you know, they have that stuff pre-finished white, even in plastic moldings now, 8 foot long, and that's probably what I'm going to use. I'll show you that later. But they have it in wood too, and they have that in 3/8, ½ inch, 5/8, and 3/4. You don't have to use 3/4 nowadays if you don't want. But I talked to Billy, and he's suggesting, because it's a taller baseboard, to go with the 3/4 inch. I may do that, or I may use 5/8 or even ½ inch. I don't want to go too small because the baseboard's not really super tall. This baseboard's probably about 4.5 inches tall. They have baseboard about 6 inches tall nowadays. Did you know that? And then I would probably go with the 3/4 inch quarter round. But I may stick to ½ inch or 5/8. I'll show you that later on another episode. But yeah, they're working down here, so it's given me a chance to do some more painting up there. But before I talk about that, they've got to put quarter round trim around these cabinets again. And you know, I was lucky enough when I took this trim out that I saved it, and I saved it good enough to where I pulled it out, and I was hoping that they could reuse it. And he's going to be gracious enough after he gets done with the flooring. He's got a little Brad nailer gun that he's going to be able to put all that trim back for me. So whenever you take trim out, make sure you save it, especially for something like that, because there's no way I want to use white quarter round for that. That would look awful, wouldn't it? I'm just bringing you up here to show you that trim here real quick. I wasn't going to show you this, but here it is, right here. I'm just going to show you this real quick, and because the last person who nailed it down, they nailed it to the floor and to the side of the cabinet. And on this material, you don't want to nail it to the floor. It's a free floating floor, so you can't nail it down to the floor. And so they had all these nails sticking up. I couldn't cut these off flush. I cut them off as low as I could. I took my little rasp, and here's a brand new one. See, this is for metal and this is for wood. You turn it over on the other side. See how it's concaved? Metal, smooth, rough wood. And this one's so old, I should probably throw it away. This is probably, I've had this probably for 20 years. And it's not very sharp anymore. I should actually throw this away or save it for emergencies. And this is the one that should go in my nail bag. It's brand spanking new. It's really sharp too. And here's a tip for you. When you buy that at the store, that's probably $8 or $9 just to buy it separate. Well, I bought it in a set. It had some hand files and some rectangular triangle file, and a couple flat files, some handles, you know, for different files. I got the whole set for like $11. You know, so for $3 extra, or whatever it was. I got all these other files, but chances are I may never use those files for anything. In fact, I'm not even sure where they are, but I ended up, that's what I did instead of just buying this by itself. But anyways, I took that and I was able to file down all of these nails, all of the finished nails, you know, on the sides, the inside corners, and stuff. And then even on some of these, had some discolorations on them. I even used my old one on the smooth side and filed down some dirty marks on here and stuff. I wanted to make sure these all were finished. And when I took them off, I numbered them from left to right, 1 through however many trim pieces I have. So here's 1, 2, 3, and so forth, okay? And so I numbered them all, and before I have them nail it, this first one, because it went up there before, you know, straight up against the baseboard, was cut straight, and then they cut the 45, you know, for the next piece, and so forth. Well, I decided, hey, I can't put that on yet because now with the free-floating floor, my white quarter round is going to be going up against this first one. So if this first one goes up against the baseboard, how can I show you this? Okay, here we go. Here's the edge. Just kind of visualize, this is the edge of where the dishwasher is. The dishwasher's right here, okay? So they had these first two pieces here. Just follow me here for a minute, okay? Get my knee pad out, because I always use my knee pad, okay? The first piece, and we had a corner here on the outside. So here's that face of the cabinet, and the dishwasher's on the other side. And this went right up against there. And then this was the return. This was the return that went like that. And then the dishwasher is from here over. Follow me so far? Okay, so if that's hitting the wall, I don't want them to install that yet because now I'm going to put quarter round on this where the vinyl flooring is, and if that's nailed like that, how on earth am I going to take a quarter round and push it up there and have it look right? I don't want to caulk that or anything. I'd like to have a 45-degree angle there so that this part next to the cabinet is staying this color, and from here this way is going to be the white quarter round. Okay, so I'm gonna need to cut that at an angle, aren't I? And so when I cut it at the angle, then I'll have a piece. You know, well, I don't think I have a piece, but anyways, there's gonna be an angle like that this way. So I'm not even gonna have them install this one yet. And because this is still straight, I could even glue it onto the side of the cabinet, and this one was sticking out ever so little, and I want to make sure that the dishwasher fits in. I may have to trim this. So these two I may end up just gluing up to the cabinet, and I just have to glue it on this edge that goes to the cabinet. I can't put glue. When I say glue, I'm talking caulking. I can't caulk it on the bottom or nail it. I can't have anybody nail it to the floor because this is called a free-floating vinyl floor. Okay, free-floating means it can move both directions, so it can expand and contract during weather conditions, during the winter, during the summer, air conditioning, heater, and so forth. So the floor needs to move around and relax. Well, if you nail this down to the floor, or if you glue this down to the floor, it can't move. And if something happens to the floor, then their out is always, oh, well, that voids our warranty because you nailed something to the floor, you glued something down to the floor. Now that your floor has buckled or shifted or puckered, we're saying it's because you nailed your trim down to the floor, because you caulked your trim down to the floor, because of something of that sort. So make sure that if you're installing a floor, or if somebody installs a floor for you and you're doing some trim, make sure you find out what type of floor it is. Not all vinyl floors are free floating, okay? Some I've seen them actually glue down to the floor. If you glued it down to the floor, yeah, you could nail a piece of trim down to the floor, or glue it down to the floor, put mastic down, construction adhesive, just painter's caulking, whatever you want to the floor, and know that that's not a free floating floor. Same thing with wood floors or fake laminated wood floors. You gotta read those directions, because if it's a free floating floor, and here's the other thing, on free floating floors, you gotta maintain a certain gap. So whatever type of material you're installing, look at the manufacturer's little instruction guide, and it'll tell you what type of gap to maintain on your flooring, you know, underneath your baseboard or up against your sheetrock walls, both directions, and this, that, and the other thing, okay? So I filed down all this, and I'm gonna have him, out of the goodness of his heart, he's gonna use his nailer and put most of those back up. He's not gonna do that today, but I've got these all ready for him now, and he's gonna be here for next few days, because this next thing after putting that, installing that vinyl planking flooring, of course, you see all this here? Yeah, he's gonna be the same person installing the carpet, and you see here's the carpet pad, and he's gonna have to install his tack strip all the way along these walls, and hopefully I'll be here and we'll show you how to install a brand new flooring tack strip. Oh, here's another thing I gotta do, and I might as well do it today. I'll show you this little ceiling section. I gotta come down the stairs first. See where they did a nice job, whoever built this, because they put the bullnose trim, you know, on their edges and stuff. But because this wall is the gray color, I've got to transition it into this ceiling from down here. So how do you suppose I'm going to do that? Well, I'm just gonna make a line, and I'm gonna kind of eyeball where the middle of this is. I'm thinking here, should I go to the center of the bullnose, or should I go to the top edge of the bullnose? Maybe I want to go to the top edge of the bullnose. That way when I'm down here, I don't really see that blue line, the gray line. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, I should stop that up higher, you know, maybe right up in here, and I'll probably put a couple pencil marks where I think it needs to go, and then I'll take some masking tape, put some masking tape along there, and I'll do the same thing along this. Granted, and then I'll paint next to the masking tape, but I know what's going to happen. Some of the paint's going to bleed through the masking tape, but at least it's going to give me a good idea of where that line's supposed to be. Then I'm going to have to cut it in a little bit better. See all the spray texture nodules on here? And it's going to be hard to get a perfectly straight line on that without some of that paint coming down through the masking tape. And I don't think I want to freehand that line. And I don't, you know, if somebody was here, I could put a chalk line there, but I don't really want to do that either, because then the chalk gets all over and I don't want to paint over that. So I just do the best I can with the masking tape and figure that out, and then see, yeah, that's going to be funky here, because see how this is like a bullnose, but it's a different bullnose than that. So if I keep this one up high, then that means I shouldn't paint this ceiling down to there, I should make an imaginary line up here. You see what I mean? And then I'll have to get the white paint back out to redo that, because I'll have to add some white up to a new line that's lined up with that. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Okay, another thing I've got to do today. Well, time to get busy.